Baseball isn't just numbers, numbers, numbers.
This game is not being played on computers.
You don't do that with a bunch of statistical gimmicks.
You don't put a team together with a computer.
We're talking weighted runs created plus,
expected WOBA,
his sweet spot rate,
defensive runs above average,
average exit velocity,
barrel rate,
xFIP,
BABIP,
SIERA.
We are above replacement radio. And welcome to Above Replacement Radio, where we're talking baseball kind of whenever. I'm your host, Chris Gianta. Over there on the other side of the screen is Daniel Curran. How you doing, Daniel?
Chris, I'm doing great. Feeling really good after attending the game of the year last night. You and I took a little trip to Baltimore, ready to witness history with the 30-year anniversary of 2-1-3 one night. And well, little did we know we were in for a lot more than just Cal Ripken night. It was probably the game of the year to this point of the season, and I'm not just saying that because we were there.
Yeah, it's certainly half inning of the year. That's for sure. You could not pack more dramatics into a half inning unless somehow Yamamoto is throwing a perfect game or something. But really, that's about all you can do there.
In case you missed it, Saturday night, Camden Yards, Dodgers, Orioles. Once again, they're celebrating the 30-year anniversary of Cal Ripken Jr. breaking Lou Gehrig's consecutive game streak, where he played his 2,131st consecutive game on September 6, 1995. So they had a whole pregame ceremony. They had like a mid-inning ceremony in the fifth. And Yoshinobu Yamamoto was throwing a no-hitter up until the 26th out. That's when Jackson Holliday came up and hit a wall-scraping home run into right field. So they took him out, put in Blake Trinan, who proceeded to give up a double to Jeremiah Jackson, hit Gunnar Henderson, and then walk back-to-back batters to load the bases and give in another run, which led to Tanner Scott. And by the way, the pitch wasn't even a strike. I don't know if you've watched it back from the home plate angle. It was not even remotely close to being a strike. The pitch that Emmanuel Rivera hit a walk-off single on.
Yeah, it was probably like a foot out of the zone.
Yeah, a low. Like he had to go down and get it. So that was crazy. Incredible game to be at as a neutral fan. Like I think, like I would argue it's better to be there as a neutral fan than an Orioles fan.
Yeah, right. You're not.
We get to actually go through the thrill of like hoping we saw a no hitter to, okay, well no hitter. Let's do the 3-run comeback, and we got the emotions of both. On the hopeful side. Obviously, we didn't get the no-hitter, but I would argue that what we got was even better.
Yeah, because we were sitting next to a couple Orioles fans, and I'm sure they were very confused because we were not wearing the apparel of any baseball team.
Nope.
I personally find it weird to wear like the jersey or the apparel of a team that's not playing. It seems like a little bit self-involved to me. That's just my takeaway from it. But nonetheless, there were Orioles fans. There were Orioles fans next to us, and they were probably very confused because I was, probably from seventh inning on, really cheering on the Yamamoto no hitter, even though I'm not wearing any Dodgers apparel. And then, when the walk-off hits, it's like, yeah, I'm rooting on that too. That's a pretty cool moment too. So yeah, it was definitely a ride because you really get the best of both worlds there.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like anytime I go to a neutral site game, I generally root for the home team, just because I'm like, all right, I'm here with the crowd. Like, I'll join them in this. And obviously, it was Cal Ripken night. Actually, I was like, all right, yeah, I'd like to see the Orioles win on this night. And as a Red Sox fan, they're obviously not a threat to us in the standings. So I think it's okay to root for them even as a division rival. And I don't really have much beef with the Orioles in this time period, even like when they're competitive. But yeah, as the game went on, it's like, well, now I want to see a no-hitter if we're that close. And I literally turned to you after the Holiday home run and said, all right, let's just have the 3-run comeback now if we're not going to get a no-hitter. And of course, even at that point, the Dodgers had like a 90% chance to win according to the win probability charts. But sure enough, it actually happened. It was 99.5% before the Holiday homer, by the way. I could have asked you to pick a number 1 to 200, and that would have been the attempt of the odds the Orioles win the game at that time.
Right. Yeah. No, it was insane. And yeah, significant somewhat in not really significant to the Orioles season, but ends up being pretty significant to the Dodgers season at this point. So,
Yes.
it wasn't just like, a White Sox Rockies game necessarily. There was a little bit of Dodgers fans were feeling it after that. For sure, because of how the team has been performing and how unsecured the NL West title is. But yeah, did we want to talk
Mhm.
about what the Dodgers are doing right now?
Yeah, I have some numbers for you. This is actually, this goes back a while. This week I think was, the Dodgers did win today. They did that. That was big for them, obviously, to get off this road trip with a win. But they got swept by the Pirates in Pittsburgh earlier this week. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Orioles, and both the losses were backbreakers, right? It was the Paseo walk-off home run on Friday, obviously the game that we mentioned on Saturday, which Sarah Langs and Jason Stark both had this. It was the first time in baseball history where a pitcher was carrying a no-hitter through 8 and 2/3 innings, proceeded to lose it with a home run, and then have their team lose. So, I mean, like, they were finding ways to lose that no one has ever done in 150 recorded years of baseball. Just to lay out the full land of what was happening. And this was, the struggles have been happening for a while now, but I think they were loudest this week. Since July 4th, that's obviously over 2 months now. The Dodgers are 23 and 31. That is 8 games under 500, and that's with the win today. And it's the third worst record in the National League over that span. Only the Nationals and Rockies have a worse record than the Dodgers over the last 2 months. That means the Pirates have a better record. That means the Diamondbacks, who sold at the deadline, have a better record. That means the Marlins have a better record. Although, to be fair, the Marlins did actually play some nice ball in the last couple of months there. Um, and it's crazy as to why this happened, Chris. Because if I had told you at the beginning of this, there would be a 2 month stretch where the Dodgers struggled to this degree, you could probably have an educated guess as to what leads to that, right?
Um, that's a good question. I mean, I'm not sure if I'm being led in this direction, but I think a lot of it would have to do with injuries, like on the starting pitching staff.
That's exactly what I was setting you up for. You nailed it. Yeah, you would have thought it was injuries to the starting pitching. And honestly, that's been the least of their concerns over this time, which is pretty crazy. Ever since, just to give you an idea, ever since this span that I've been talking about, since July 4th, are actually fine with starting pitching. They rank third highest in starting pitcher F4, behind only the Reds and the Phillies. Obviously, Yamamoto has been a large part of that success. Shohei Ohtani, in the time that he's been pitching, has been very good on the F4 side, not so good on the B4 side. He's giving up a lot of base hits, a 372 BABIP against. Glass now has been back, and he's not his full self, but he's fine. Snell, same thing. Kershaw has actually been very solid. He has a 302 FIP in the last 2 months, which is crazy. And it's been everything else. It's been the offense, and it's been the bullpen. Do you have any numbers you want to share?
Um, no, no,
Okay, I have plenty.
no, yeah, go ahead,
Okay,
rattle them off.
so since July 4th, which, like I mentioned, is the span in which the Dodgers are 23 and 31, they rank 22nd in position player F4 with a 97 weighted runs created plus in that span. All the talk of this offseason was this super lineup that the Dodgers have. They're going to, score 15 runs every game, and it's going to ruin the league. And this will be the easy way for the league to usher in the salary cap proposals come CBA time. And things just haven't played out like that. Like I said, a below average weighted runs created plus as a team over a 2 month span. Um, Shohei Ohtani has not been a part of that at all. He's actually been, still Shohei Ohtani. He is still probably going to win National League MVP. But Mookie Betts has been below league average in this time. Teoscar Hernandez has really, really struggled in these last couple months. Like it's been, on the offensive side, it's just been very rough. Specifically going into individuals, I obviously mentioned, two of the main culprits in this being Betts and Hernandez. Sung Kim has struggled as well, actually to quite a severe degree. Since July 4th, he has a -4 weighted runs created plus, and it's only been 58 plate appearances, but still, obviously Michael Conforto still hasn't gotten it going. Andy Pa has been underwhelming for some time now after having a solid couple months. Will Smith is obviously day to day right now with an injury. But it's pretty much just been Shohei, Freddie Freeman, Miguel Rojas has actually been all right, and Will Smith, and that's really been it for this team.
Right, right. And it's also hurt that, Otani's doing well, but he hasn't been at the same rate that he was
Hmm.
previously. Like
Yeah, like a one, unfortunately, a 154 weighted runs created plus just doesn't do it for him at this point.
yeah, yes.
That's like
Yeah.
underwhelming.
Yeah, he's his OPS for the season is around 1,000. His OPS during the span is 936, which is obviously great, but it's not like he's necessarily making up for what the rest of the Dodgers are doing. And then also Will Smith was also at a crazy rate before this, but has slowed down a little bit and is a little bit closer to what he looked like previous to this year with a 785 OPS, 123 weighted runs created plus. So some of the guys that were really carrying them through the Betts and Freeman slumps, in May or June are kind of performing like regular, humans, and that's also kind of taken away from the Dodgers' offensive performance because they don't really have, otherworldly performance to kind of fall back on.
Yeah, I have a few more numbers on the offense, and then I want to get into the bullpen side of things. And there's been a lot of batted ball direction type of concerns that I've seen. Before the span, they were third in pulled air rate, and in the span, they're 15th. They've gone from seventh to 24th in line drive rate. So they're not pulling the ball as much. They're not hitting as many line drives, and you know, there's no team in which that will ever over a long period of time, provide a better offense, generally speaking. And that's what we've seen from Los Angeles for over 2 months now.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Luckily for them, at least recently during this really recent stretch, the Padres haven't really been doing too well either. So,
Hmm.
they're still, I believe, a couple
They do
games up
still
on
lead
the
the division,
Padres.
yeah.
So
They
they're
are one game
they're
behind
recent
Padres.
one game up.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, considering what they did in the offseason, what they already had prior to the offseason, being one game up in the division at this point in the season is pretty disappointing. That's kind of the Dodgers standard. We expect them to win the division pretty much every year. It was a miracle when they didn't in 2021, and it took, a 107 win, probably possibly cheating Giants team. Not that I have any evidence against that team, but given how random it was, it almost seemed like they were cheating. It took that level of season to dethrone them in the NL West. And here we have a team that came in with, multiple MVP winners, multiple Cy Young winners, on their team, and also some really good young talent. People were wondering if they were gonna hit the 116 win mark. And they're struggling to win the division, and now they
Yeah.
don't really have the injury excuse right now. That
Hmm.
Snell and
Everyone's
Glass now
back.
are back. Otani is pitching. So there's not much excuse
Max
there.
Muncy's hurt. Like
Max
that's
Muncy's, yeah, Max
yeah,
Muncy's
that's like
hurt,
it.
but
That doesn't do
they don't
your
have it in
team.
they don't have an irregular amount of injuries. So that's,
Yeah, Tommy
as a
Edmonds hurt, I
Dodgers fan,
think.
you'd have to be a bit disappointed.
On July 2nd, just 2 days before this span that I've been mentioning, the Dodgers had, according to Fangraphs, a 94.98, excuse me, 0.4% chance to win the division. Currently, it sits at 78.3%, but it did get as low as 57.4% on August 23rd. So, in just a month and a half span, and obviously it's been prolonged more than that, but they've let the Padres get back into this division. Uh, which has been, crazy, obviously.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, I think so, if the season ended today, they would have to play in the wild card round, which is pretty crazy to think about. That's not really something.
Yes, you're right. They'd be the
Yeah.
three facing what, the Mets?
Um, yeah, I think the Mets, because yeah, the Phillies are a few games up on them. The Brewers are pretty significantly
Oh,
ahead of
wow, well above them.
of the
Yeah.
Dodgers. And
Yeah,
yeah,
they're
like
they're they're 9.5 games up. They're nine and
Like,
a half. Jesus.
cause cause I'm thinking back because in 2021 the Dodgers still had a top two National League record. Um, so this would be the first time in a really, really long time the Dodgers would not have a top two National League record. I think you'd
I'm
have to go
trying to
back to like
think. 2016, I think.
um
I think 2000. They were the
yes,
road team against Washington in that series, and the Cubs
yes.
obviously were the best team, right? I'm trying to think if it's happened since. They
Oh,
were
I guess
what
18
second and were
or
they
wait.
second in 18? I think they were second, right? They were second. No, no, you know what? The Cubs were second, I
Oh
think,
yeah,
right?
right. Yeah.
The Cubs were second that year. Hang
Yeah.
on, I have it pulled up. The Brewers were first. I know that they won 96 games. The Cubs
And
won
then the Cubs were
95. The
tied
Dodgers
with
won
them.
92. So yeah, they were. Yeah, they were, and they almost lost the division to the Rockies. They almost were fourth.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so it's been 6 year or 7 years since then because 2019 they got the one seed, 2020 was one
Mhm.
seed, 2021 they were top two with the Giants, 2022 they were one
They
seed,
were the one
23 they
seed,
were two
also
seed,
the one seed. Yes, the two
um,
seed. You're right.
and then
The
24
Braves.
they were one seed. Um, so yeah, it's been 7 years since the Dodgers have not had a top two National League team, and it's this year. It's the year they were supposed to ruin baseball. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, right.
Um, but I guess, from a benefit standpoint, that means more Otani in the playoffs. So I think I could get behind that.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's very exciting, and I enjoy that.
Yeah, and just the possibility of um yeah, the possibility of the Dodgers being knocked out by October 1st is pretty crazy to me.
It's
I
possible.
it's like what happened with the Astros last year. I'd be like,
The Mets
wait,
usher in Nolan McLean and Jonah Tong to face this lineup.
yeah,
Yeah, and they win in
exactly.
two at Dodger
Rocking out like
Stadium.
rocking out like the 2012 A's with Jared Parker and Tommy Malone, rookie stars. Um,
AJ Griffin, yeah.
yep, yeah, just a trio of absolute studs. Um, yeah, it is it's interesting how it's all gone down. Um,
This is I'd like to remind everyone this is why we play the games. Um because
mhm.
like I remember obviously all of the discourse this offseason. Like the jumping off point of the discourse that I really remember the most, and I don't know if this is a sentiment that you share or not, but like I remember after the Dodgers Tanner Scott, that was when everything really started to hit the fan with the hot takes and the discourse and all that. Is that how you remember it as well?
Did he sign after Sasaki?
I don't. Well, the Sasaki was like that one was a different to me because like he didn't sign for big money. He just simply chose the Dodgers. Like
Yeah,
Tanner
but
Scott
all
was
the
like
people
they went out and
making
signed money. Let me see.
all the people making those takes didn't really take in that
No,
nuance,
you're right. Sasaki
respectfully.
was Sasaki signed the day after Tanner Scott. That probably had something to do with it.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's a compounding effect, I
So
think.
the
Yeah.
and I remember Sasaki happened I think at night or like mid afternoon on a Friday, and then Scott was like that Saturday morning.
Mm, yeah.
Um, So I like there wasn't much time to for everyone to give their takes on Sasaki, and then boom, Scott was also in there. Um, and like I also think that like I don't know if they were super in on Scott either because like Sasaki we all knew like everyone knew they were gonna get Sasaki for the longest time. I don't think many people saw Scott coming. But
Right.
anyway,
Yeah.
all of this is to say I want to get into the bullpen, and Tanner Scott has been like one of the worst relievers in the league over the last couple months. He has pitched. He did spend some time in the injured list, but he has uh, pitched 9 1/3 innings. He has, struck out 7.7 per nine, walked 4.82 per nine, and also allowed 4.82 home runs per nine. That's two home runs, just in general. It is a strikeout minus walk rate where is he? I don't even see him. Of 6.4% in the span and is a minus zero point 0.9 F4, 964 ERA, 1032 FIP out of the closer spot for the Dodgers.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And yeah, he he gave up the Messiah home run,
Yep,
correct? And then
lefty lefty.
gave up the walk off the other night. And yeah, the walk off doesn't even count towards his ERA. But you know,
No.
that's an out that you want a reliever to get. Um, so yeah, it's yeah, that's something to look out for. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, it's seems like nothing's clicking over there.
No. Going more into the bullpen, Kirby Yates has thrown 10 innings in this span, 7.20 ERA, 7.04 FIP. Um, Blake Trinan, 11 innings pitched, 4.91 ERA, 4.32 FIP. Like that's just not. Ben Casparius was big for them earlier in the year, 18 innings in this span, 4.50 ERA, 4.31 FIP. Not nearly as bad as some of the other guys that were mentioned, but definitely not spectacular by any means. Um, Going more broadly into it as a bullpen, uh, it's been real rough. It's in the eighth and ninth inning, they have a 4.91 ERA and 5.33 FIP. Their ERA ranks 28th in that span. FIP is dead last, and as a team in the eighth and ninth, it is an 11.2% K rate minus walk rate that is tied for 26th. And by the way, like all of the other teams towards the bottom here are also playoff teams. Like the Tigers are in here, the Blue Jays are in here, the Yankees are in here, the Dodgers are in here. Like just no one that's going to the playoffs really has a good bullpen right now.
Very, very interesting.
Uh,
The
with the
2017 Rockies are heartbroken or whatever,
yeah,
2018 Rockies.
with the exception of like, the Padres, obviously, the Brewers, the Red Sox. That's really it. Mariners, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, it's interesting for sure. But yeah, it's exciting. It's fun. It's fun to see, you know, I guess there are no baseball super teams after all. Um,
Yeah.
you can have all the talent and you know you're still struggling to win your divisions. And that's a great thing. That's awesome.
This is why we play the games.
Yeah, right. I'm fully
Right. I
invested in
mean,
Dodgers
everyone,
games on September 7th.
yeah, I mean, like I mentioned, I remember all the takes flying when the Dodgers signed Tanner Scott, and like, I mean, he he couldn't have been worse in the last 2 months when
Right.
he's been
Yeah,
on the mound.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, did you have anything more on the Dodgers?
No, that yeah, I mean, I don't know. I almost do feel like we get to the postseason and we will have the narrative, if they do well, it'll certainly be the narrative of like, oh well, now they're healthy and they weren't healthy back when they were struggling. It's like actually they were, but um, but that's people will roll with what they want to roll with.
Yeah, right, for sure. Yeah, if I were a Dodgers fan, I don't think I'd actually be very concerned, you know, heading into the
No.
playoffs.
I mean I would if the bullpen's gonna be this bad.
That's true. But
Because
the
like there's
fun thing,
no there's no real like I mentioned, the worst FIP in the eighth and ninth innings in the last 2 months. Like that's not a sign that they're about to turn a corner.
the fun thing about the playoffs is your starters can be your bullpen. So that
That
is a
is a
factor.
great point. One thing
That's
that I
the
do also
2018 Red
wonder,
Sox hack.
yeah, one thing that I do wonder, and this is obviously, we'll cross that bridge if and when we get there, and that's a huge if, but like, what do they go out and do with this offseason if, let's say, they have another 2022 or 2023 type of playoff exit? Because it's like eventually you're going to run out of spots on your roster to fill players with. And like they still have Freddie locked up for a couple years. They obviously have Mookie signed long term. They have, pretty much their full rotation set next year. They already signed Tanner Scott, for a few years. Like I like what else is there to do? Like I don't think Kyle Tucker is going to be that guy. I don't think they're going to sign him. You can play that clip if he does, but I don't think that's going to be what happens.
Yeah, I think it's a great reminder that you can't, no matter how what you do as a GM, how well you do, you can't what they do in the playoffs is really out of your control. You know, the Dodgers front office builds a consistent winner year in and year out. Pretty much
Mm-hmm.
almost every year comes into the season with the best roster in baseball. You know, probably 2 out of 3 years for the last like almost decade, they've come in with the best roster in baseball. That's all you can really control. And, you know, I would say there's been some organizational bad luck in some of the World Series they haven't won, whether that be 2017, 2019, 2021 especially. I mean, the 2021 team was crafted so well. Maybe the most talented team heading into a postseason um, in, you know, in this Dodgers,
Run.
run. And they couldn't get past the 88 win Braves. That's not on the front office. That's on what happens on the field. Things happen. And also the 2024 team was not anywhere close to the best Dodgers
Dude, like
roster we've seen heading into a playoffs.
I always keep thinking back to this moment, the eighth inning. Blake Trinan goes out for a second inning and shuts down the Yankees to build the bridge to Walker Buehler in the ninth. If you go back and look at who was available, like they literally had nobody else. Like Blake Trinan had to go out for the eighth in that game because they had nobody else. They were starting Ryan Brazier in a bullpen game in a do or die game in those playoffs. Like they could have very easily lost a game four to the Padres. But they didn't. Like the bullpen showed up, they shut them down for whatever it was, 24 straight innings to end the series.
Yeah,
Like
you
this is a
can't
team,
you can't tell me that team that you could reasonably like it's on the GM that they won that and then lost when they had Scherzer, Kershaw. Well, I think Kershaw was injured,
still
but
doing it.
yeah, Scherzer, Trey Turner, Corey Seager, Max Muncy, um, you know, uh, Will Smith,
Betts,
Mookie
yeah.
Betts. Who else did they have in that starting rotation?
Um,
They had some they had some
was
good
Bueller in that
pitchers.
rotation?
Yeah, Bueller, the year he's top five in Cy Young. Um,
Ryu, right? Or not Ryu. Julio Urias
Julio
was big
Urias.
that year.
Yeah,
Ryu was big 2 years before.
they had an unreal roster in 2021 and didn't
Yeah.
come up and like it's not on the GM that they didn't win that and they won in 2024. It's just how the team played. Like the GM's job is pretty much done after July 31st. Like you can only, at
Yeah.
least on the MLB front, like you can only just sit and watch at that point.
99% done. You could do some waiver wire stuff, but that's generally
Yeah.
minor and rarely, is something you look back on at the end of a year and say, that was big for us.
Yeah. So if you're crafting, the best roster or a top three roster in baseball year in and year out, and they're not getting it done in the playoffs, I just don't think that's on the GM.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you.
So, cause yeah, so I think going back to your question about like what would they do, um, I don't think they should do anything differently. Like I think they should have the same approach, um, whether they win it this year or get bounced in two games by the freaking Mets.
Yeah,
I think they should have the same exact approach.
yeah. But I feel
Um,
like there's going to be a lot of reactionary, like, we need to do this and that, and we need to fix all this. And it's like, well, a lot of stuff happened this year. And like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think it's reasonable because like the run differential, and I don't love using run differential for a lot of reasons, but like they have a 485 Pythagorean win loss during the span in which they are 8 games under 500. Like it is. I mean, that's poor bullpen. Obviously, I think is where that comes in, but. Yeah, I mean, I think you run I hate to do like the Neil Huntington thing, but like, you run simulations of this time and it's like the bullpen isn't that bad most of the time.
yeah, I mean,
And it won't be, and it shouldn't be that bad going forward, even if it has been right now.
the one thing you could also point out is like, the Dodgers did not plan for Mookie Betts to perform this poorly offensively, and
No.
maybe they
And I
felt the
think
plan around.
the illness he had preseason probably weighs into that to a certain degree.
Yeah, right. And they're probably planning on, Freeman declining a little bit year by year. So maybe they should, find more bats in the offseason, but um and, and maybe that's something they didn't plan to do in the 2025 to 26 offseason when they were seeing this team this year. But with how far Betts has declined offensively, maybe that's something that they'll do that maybe they weren't initially planning on doing. But other than that, it's hard. I mean, bullpen pieces come and go all the time, and sure they could definitely sure that up a little bit, but um, there's not much else you can do, I think.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that.
Yeah, yeah. So anything more with the Dodgers?
I mean, yeah, it's just again, this is why we play the games because yeah, I don't think anyone had on their big the Dodgers are 8 games under 500 in a 2 month span and are getting swept in Pittsburgh. And although the Pirates like randomly play well against the Dodgers at least once a year, but like yeah, I mean, they are playing their worst baseball right now, although they did win today. So they did do that.
Yeah. As we mentioned, they're one game up on the Padres. Another race that is being decided by just a single game, or excuse me, a game and a half, is the American League wild card. Um, Luckily, the Mariners have won a couple games in the past 2 days to widen their gap a little bit, but it seems pretty tight. And not only is it a game and a half difference, but there are one, two, three, four teams within 4 games. What are you thinking about the AL wild card race?
It's given me the vibe of like the last few weeks for the National League in 2019, where for like a 2 month stretch, like the Mets had a big couple weeks, and then the Giants had a big couple weeks, and the Diamondbacks, and there was just like we were in a cycle of like, oh, this team is the better one right now. No, it's this team. Oh, it's that team, and it ended up as the Nationals and Brewers. Running away with it. The Cubs were also, in that mix. And that's what I feel like we've kind of seen from the AL, where the Mariners have consistently held this third wild card spot for the whole second half and beyond that. And like, the Rangers had some time where they looked like they were done, and then they ripped off, 7 out of 10. The Royals have kind of been they haven't really had like the ebbs and flows. They've just kind of been there the whole year, but they did recently have a good stretch. And the Guardians have been super up and down, right? But right now they're 2.5 back. And the Rays, we thought they were dead, but now they're 4 back. And it's like the teams just keep appearing and disappearing and reappearing. And ultimately, nothing has actually changed at the top, but we're at a point where it's very possible
Yeah, right.
from a million
Especially
different directions.
especially with the Rangers, they were pretty hot at a point, and they also have one of the better run differentials in the American League. So it seemed like they were due to kind of break out at some point. They've definitely done better as of late, and I think are definitely an emerging threat. And I think probably the most realistic threat to the Mariners out of all the teams in that kind of group. Um, I will say, luckily for the Mariners have the fourth easiest remaining schedule according to Tankathon, based on winning percentages, I believe. Helps that they got 3 games against Colorado, 4 games against the Angels, and it looks like their fourth toughest team that they'll face is the St. Louis Cardinals, which if that's your
Yeah.
fourth toughest, then
They
pretty
got
good
they got
spot.
three against they got three against the Astros and three against the Dodgers. And
Yeah,
the Dodgers
those
ones are at the very end of the season where maybe they're not playing for anything.
Yeah, those could be the tougher ones, but yeah, luckily for the Mariners, that's what's going on for them. But it feels like they've struggled a little bit as of late. Obviously not the last couple games, but even with those 2 wins, they're 4-6 in their last 10. But yeah, what do you think about just the odds um of the Mariners kind of sticking it out all the way through?
So I want to share something that I'm like quite fascinated by. And it is so the Mariners and the Rangers, I think, are at this point the two most likely teams to eventually hold that third wild card spot. And one thing that they have in common outside of being from the same division is that you do not want to run into them at home, but you absolutely want them on the road. The Mariners are 34 and 41 on the road. The Rangers are 30 and 42 on the road, and obviously they're both very good at home to subsequent that. And I wanted to look up how like likely it is for teams like this to make the playoffs and also do well. So right now the Mariners have a 453 win percentage at home. The Rangers are a little bit worse than that. I'll get the exact number up in just a second. It's a 417. So I looked this up. In the history of baseball, there have been 21 teams that have made the playoffs despite having a road winning percentage of 455 or less. And that's where both of these teams are at right now. Now, obviously, it's rare to make the playoffs with those kinds of numbers, but it's seemingly even more rare to have any kind of major success. Out of those 22 teams, only 6 of them eventually won a league pennant, and it is a fascinating list. You have the 1902 Philadelphia A's, who did not win a World Series because there was no World Series to be won in 1902. There was, Chris, of course, you'll know this one, the 1914 Indiana Hoosiers from the Federal League.
Oh yeah,
There was the 1944 St. Louis Browns. Was it the only pennant they won, or did they win another one?
I think that's the only one.
And it was during World War II when none of the good players were playing.
Exactly.
So that's what it took. And the 2005 Houston Astros, who were like in the gutter for a couple months and then broke out of it. So, and then the two that have won the World Series, despite that kind of ineptitude on the road throughout the season, are the 1987 Twins, 2006 Cardinals, who are both widely regarded as like the two worst World Series winning teams in the history of baseball. The Cardinals were an 83 win team that year. The Twins were an 85 win team. So that's the that the Mariners are going to have to set there is the only teams that, and the Rangers too, obviously, and they're even worse, but at least on the road. But that's what we're looking at in terms of how teams that do that poorly on the road generally do in the playoffs. Um, Thankfully for the Mariners, they have 19 remaining games and 13 of them are at home. The only road series they remain to have are 3 in Kansas City and 3 in Houston, and they're home against St. Louis. They have 4 against the Angels, and they come back for the last week of the season with 3 against the Rockies and 3 against the Dodgers. For the Rangers, it is a little more mixed than that, but the reason I think the Mariners will continue to hold on to it is simply because they have mostly home games. They obviously just came back from a 3-6 road trip where they dropped a series to Cleveland, got swept by the Rays, and then won 2 out of 3 against Atlanta. But they are mostly going to be a T-Mobile Park for the remainder of the regular season.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, also that is a very significant analysis because obviously whoever wins their first 3 games, first 2 to 3 games of the playoffs will be most definitely on the road. So
Yes.
if you're,
Which is
against a
why you're
playoff
going for the
team,
division. Well, I guess it doesn't. Well, I mean, where would the Mariners be? Where are the Astros? Oh, the Astros are pretty comfortably in the 3 seed. So yeah. I mean, yeah, if you're the Mariners, you want the division because you want those home games for the wild card series.
yeah, 100%, 100%. And what are they? 4 games out?
Yes.
Um,
No, they're 2.5, I
two,
think.
2.5. Okay. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Astro, I
So
guess, yeah.
and they play another 3 in Houston. It's in Houston. That's not great, but I don't know. You never know. Um, and right
Yeah.
now they would also go to Houston for the playoffs, which I think they would not want to do after last time.
Um,
Last time they went to the playoffs, they had to go to Houston.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it started really well.
It did.
It
They got
started.
again, it's 26 outs. It was looking great.
Yes, yes, indeed, indeed. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it kind of went all downhill after that. Yeah, that is very interesting. That is very interesting. Even as the Rangers, their motto 2 years ago was, the Road Warriors, or I think that's what they were called. But
That's actually probably the best precedent like that's been set recently to give fans any sort of hope. The Rangers were not that bad on the road. They were, I think, 40 and 42. But yeah,
mm,
they went on to go undefeated on the road throughout 4 rounds of the playoffs.
yeah, the 2023 Rangers really flipped up a lot of previous thoughts I
Narratives.
had up in my head about the playoffs because they were probably, I think they were 500 for the last like 4 months of the season or something like that.
Mhm.
Eovaldi had been struggling heading into the playoffs like his previous 6 starts. Um, and their bullpen was really really bad in the last like 2 months heading into that, and everything just kind of flipped upside down. And you know it really was a new season. They didn't take any of the trends that had been occurring prior, and they just beat everybody. And they won 13 games and lost 5, I think, or yeah, or 4, only lost 4.
4. Yeah.
Yeah, they went 13-4 in the playoffs. So yeah, sometimes it's just like that. Sometimes momentum really has nothing to do with what goes on in the playoffs.
No, but I'm still going to analyze that way because
Yeah.
that's just how our brains are all wired.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You take what's recently happened and then that's everything. Um But but yeah, anything
I
more
don't
on
know.
the
How
wild
how
card
do you
race?
how do you feel about the idea of, and obviously a lot can change in 3 weeks. These can become exciting teams, but how do you feel about the idea of seeing the Royals, Guardians, or Rays in the playoffs
Um, uh,
over one of the Mariners or Rangers?
I'll be honest, Daniel. I haven't really thought of that possibility,
Yeah.
unfortunately, and it's
Well,
a
it's
tough
it
one to
is a
think of.
possibility. Let me
Yeah,
look at
it's
the odds right now. What are we looking at? AL wild card. We're talking. I gotta go all, not just the West. So right now, the Red Sox and Yankees are both looking at 70% odds to make the wild card or higher. The Mariners are at 47%. Toronto's at 33%. That makes sense. Houston's at 24%. Texas is at 11%. And let me just get rid of like the obvious ones. The Red Sox, like the Red Sox, the Yankees, and the Blue Jays are almost certainly going to be in the playoffs. And while I'm at it, I'll get rid of the Astros as well for the purpose of keeping it to, guys currently in the hunt. The Royals are at 11%. The Guardians are at 7.1%. The Rays are at 3.9%. Or sorry, okay. Full numbers. Mariners are at 47%. Rangers are at 11.8%. Cleveland's at 7%. Tampa Bay's at 1%. Kansas City is at 11.8% with Texas, I think. I think they're tied, which is interesting.
and that's to
They
that's to clinch
are
wild
what, a
card,
half
so
a
it
game.
doesn't
They're
even
half a game.
include it
Yeah.
takes away
No.
if you have a chance to win the division.
Which the Mariners are, the Mariners are 2.5 out of the division. The Rangers are 4 out. So like both of those teams could absolutely conceivably win their division as well.
Yeah,
I
so
don't think
to
the
make the
Guardians, Royals, or Rays have the division in mind.
playoffs, the Mariners odds are 79%. Rangers
Mm-hmm.
are at 15%, and Royals at 12%, and Rays are at 1.7%. Wow. Um, But yeah, the idea of especially the Royals at this point, considering, I mean, props to them getting to this point, but uh like there's no real potential ace off there. Like their game one starter is gonna be Michael Walker. Which props to
Literally,
him.
because
He's
Seth Lugo just went on the IL. Maybe
yeah,
like
Lu
maybe Noah Cameron game two.
Yeah, exactly. Like Lugo, he was already struggling and then he got injured. Then Cole Reagans has been injured for a very long time, unfortunately. And then Chris Bubich is out for the year. So it's just you're gonna have Michael Walker, and then yeah, I think Noah Cameron would probably be game two. It's like I'm
Mm-hmm.
not too excited about that, unfortunately, when you're facing like the Astros. But I guess that's the same thing that happened with the Tigers last year, except they had Skubal. But game two and beyond, it was a real question mark. Um, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the Royals would be interesting. Guardians, um, I don't know. I feel like I've seen for an AL Central team, I feel like I've seen them enough in the playoffs as recently.
Yep.
They've been there
I would
2 of the
agree.
last 3 years. But
Yeah. And the offense has been like even more dreadful this year than it has been in years past.
yeah, exactly.
And they don't even have Clase this year.
Right.
Um, Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I do think the best product for baseball is if, you have the set five that are pretty clearly going to make it. Blue Jays, Red Sox, Yankees, Tigers, Astros, and then one of Mariners or Rangers. I would say preferably Mariners because I do think they are, when they're right, they are, I think, the most complete team in the AL and maybe even in Major League Baseball. They just aren't right on the road. Um, and like we've talked for years on this show about some of their starting pitchers and how they just have T-Mobile Park figured out and they go on the road and it's, low fours ERAs for some of those guys. And that's kind of what this season has been, especially for the rotation.
Right. Yeah. I think it would make for some really interesting pitching matchups, and um, Cal and Julio and Randy
Mhm.
Arozarena,
Yeah, I mean to have Cal Raleigh, if Cal Raleigh hits 60 home runs and they don't make the playoffs,
yeah.
like what are we doing?
Yeah, but like, they're not known for their lineup, but they have some exciting players in their lineup. Um, but yeah, with the Rangers, with how excited I'd be, it would depend for me on if Nathan
Evaldi,
Eovaldi would be
yep,
back for the playoffs.
that's the big one, which
Um,
I wouldn't count on.
yeah, right. He
What's
just hit the IL
the
recently.
most recent up, and also Corey Seager too.
True.
It's a
Yeah.
strained rotator cuff. The last update was just that he was placed on the IL, so I don't think, yeah, I don't think that one's happening this season.
No. So yeah, they
Simeon
got
Simeon just got out too. Yeah, they got a lot working against him right now for sure.
yeah, that is tough. That is really tough. Yeah, the fact that they're kind of doing this all without Corey Seager is pretty impressive. Um, but yeah, anything more on the wild card races?
Yeah, I think this one will ultimately come down to the fact that the Mariners have 13 out of their 19 remaining games at home, and they're not really against any overwhelming opponents. The Dodgers are the Dodgers, but like we mentioned, it's been a rough, 2 months for them. But other than that, they have the Cardinals, the Angels, and the Rockies, and they should win like 60 to 70% of those games. And then
Yeah.
obviously, if you can manage like 3-3 on the road trip, like all you have to do is play your home ball and you're in the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it should be interesting. And yeah, as
Mhm.
we know, especially with small sample sizes, you never know. Maybe the Mariners could turn into the worst home team ever, and then
Right,
the
right.
the Guardians sneak their way back into the playoffs. Everyone's going to be very excited about that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think that does it for the topical stuff. Shall we get into players to highlight?
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, so yeah, we will start with the lows. So we end with the highs, talking about our Sunday, September 7, 2025 edition of Slightly Alarming Statistics. He's been barreling up the ball way less.
He's not missing bats. He's not getting the ball on the ground, and people are hitting it in the air more.
It's been so bad. He is getting a
Slightly alarming.
Yeah, so for my slightly alarming today, I'm talking about my National League MVP pick from this season, and I don't think that one's going to be happening. It's Ellie De La Cruz, who has not been himself as of late since August 1st. That's over a month now. He is slashing 212, 250, 307 for a 557 OPS, a 42 weighted runs created plus, and minus .3 F4. Among 178 qualified hitters in this span, he ranks ninth lowest in OBP, 13th lowest in slugging, seventh lowest in OPS, and second lowest in weighted runs created plus, along with tied for seventh lowest in in F4. Yeah, I mean, with Great American Ballpark being the hitter's park, it is obviously the weighted runs created plus adjustment is very unfavorable for him, and it's only Pico Armstrong. My last week slightly alarming. That is worse than him. He has not hit a home run, Chris, since July 31st. It has been 32 games now since the last time Ellie De La Cruz hit a home run, which is not that is not the Ellie De La Cruz that I know. That is not the one that we know and love. That's just not him. Throughout this span, his fly ball rate has gone down from 23.2% before the span to 14% in this span. And that 14% is the 10th lowest among the 255 hitters with at least 50 batted balls in this span. In the last 5 weeks, he has one pulled fly ball, a single one. That is a 7% pull rate on fly balls. It is the eighth lowest among the 304 hitters with at least 10 fly balls hit since August 1st. And not only that, but the fly balls have been, they've been higher pop ups that have been, hit too high to go anywhere. His average launch angle on fly balls has gone from 35 degrees to 38 degrees. That's the difference between, a ball that gets out of the yard and a ball that carries like 290 feet to left field. His this is gonna sound like little something crazy, but I promise it means something. His average distance on fly balls has gone from 323 feet before this span to 313 feet in this span. That is 10 feet, which doesn't seem like a lot in the grand scheme of things, but that makes a massive difference in whether a ball gets out or not. And even if you're a Great American Ballpark, it's going to hurt you a lot. So that's what we've seen from Ellie De La Cruz. It sucks because the Reds very much like in contention for the postseason, and they still are. They're 4 games out of the wild card, but and I don't know if he's hurt right now, if he's dealing with something, but you feel like if we got the Ellie De La Cruz that we know over this month and a half, maybe the standings look a little different. But ultimately, this is what we have, and he is getting a slightly alarming.
yes, Ellie De La Cruz.
Slightly alarming.
Yeah. So Am I slightly alarming? This man I put as the number 12 player in baseball heading into this year, and for a little bit, it was looking like that could be the case. Could be a nice little victory lap for myself, but um, over the last month, that has been disproven because my slightly alarming is also Ellie De La Cruz.
Hmm.
In his last 33 games, including today, he is hitting 213 with a 548 OPS. Out of 178 qualifiers in the span heading into Sunday, he had the 10th lowest on base percentage, 7th lowest OPS, and 2nd lowest weighted runs created plus. Out of 86 hitters with 500 plus pitches in the span, with 500 plus pitches seen in the span heading into Sunday, his expected WOBA ranked 3rd lowest. His strikeout rate has gone from 25% before the span to 31% in the span, and his walk rate has gone from 9.0% to 3.5%. And his chase rate overall has actually gone down in the span, oddly enough,
Yeah, which I
which
thought was weird.
which is weird. But on three ball counts, his chase rate has gone from 33% to 57%.
Yeah.
So on three ball counts, De La Cruz has chased 57% of the time, which is really tough because that's a lot of potential walks that he missed out on. And his barrel rate has also gone from 12.5% to 5.4%. And he has gone from pulling 21% of his fly balls to pulling 7.7% of them. Also, his rate of batted balls being pulled fly balls has gone from 4.9% to 1.1%. So it has been it is over 4 times less likely that he is putting a pulled fly ball in the air or putting a pull fly ball out there on his batted balls, 4 times less likely. So yeah, from both of us, Ellie De La Cruz getting a
Slightly alarming.
All right, so now we go from the lows to the highs, where we're talking players and subjects that are outperforming expectations with our Sunday, September 7, 2025 edition of How About That?
He's striking out less, walking more, and he's also making better contact.
Turning into a strikeout machine just out of nowhere.
He's been excellent all around this year.
And he is getting a
How about that?
Yeah, so for my How About That today, I am in the Big Apple talking about the Metropolitans, a guy that I don't know if he was a slightly alarming at some point this year, but he definitely could have been. But now he's a How About That? Talking about Mark Vientos, who has had a pretty huge few weeks here for the Mets. Since August 17th, he is slashing 310, 390, 761 for an 1151 OPS, a 211 weighted runs created plus, and 1.2 FWAR. Among the 184 qualifiers in the span, he ranks 3rd in slugging, 5th in OPS, 6th in weighted runs created plus, and tied for 9th in FWAR. So, I mean, pretty comfortably a top 10 player in the game over the last few weeks. His 9 home runs during the span are also tied for the most in baseball. In the span, he's made a couple tweaks to his stance, including moving his feet a little closer together and also standing closer to the plate. Obviously, it's hard to say what kind of impact that directly has had, but what I can tell you is he has been getting ahead of the ball a lot more. His average attack direction has gone from 2 degrees to the opposite field to 1 degree to the pole side, the results have been pretty clear. His fly ball rate has gone from 26.5% before the span to 35.2% in the span. And additionally, with that increase in fly balls, he's also seeing an increase in pull rate on fly balls. It's gone from 18.6% before the span to 36.8% in the span, an 18% increase. He's doubled it. And the barrel rate on fly balls has gone from a nice 23.7 before the span to 68.4% in the span. That is the 3rd highest among the 195 hitters with at least 10 fly balls. The only 2 above him are both Roman Anthony and Giancarlo Stanton, who have 8 barrels on 10 fly balls. So they just barely hit the quota to make this search. He has 13 barreled fly balls in the span. That leads the league, and nobody else has more than 10. So he's been, putting the barrel on the ball, putting it to the right spot of the field quite often. And also throughout the span, he ranks tied for 13th in expected batting average with a 319, 5th in expected slugging with a 712, and tied for 3rd in xWOBA with a 467. Lastly, tied for 5th, just 5th in run value per 100 at 14.71 among the 228 hitters with at least 50 plate appearances throughout the season. So Mark Vientos has become a much needed spark plug in the Mets lineup. He looked like he was maybe losing out on the job to Brett Beatty a little bit earlier this season, but I think he's reclaimed it for right now. And they're going to need someone like him for a playoff run. He obviously had some major moments last year. So Mark Vientos is getting a how about that?
Mark Vientos.
How about that?
And for the second time this year and third time
Both.
ever in Above Replacement Radio history, we are doubling up on both slightly alarming and how about that? Because I also have Mark Vientos in here. In his last 19 games, including today, he is hitting 306 with an 1123 OPS. As you mentioned, out of 184 qualifying hitters in the span heading into Sunday, he ranked third in slugging and fifth in OPS. Out of 159 hitters to see 250 plus pitches in the span heading into Sunday, his expected slugging ranked fifth and expected WOBA ranked fourth. His average bat speed has gone from 70.9 miles per hour to 71.7 miles per hour. And partially due to this, I imagine his average exit velocity has gone from 90.9 miles per hour to 93.5 miles per hour. Out of 159 hitters to see 250 plus pitches in the span heading into Sunday, Vientos's average exit velocity ranked 15th. Also, his average exit velocity on fly balls has gone from 93.4 miles per hour to 101.4 miles per hour. Out of 195 hitters to hit 10 plus fly balls in this span heading into Sunday, Vientos had the third highest average exit velocity on fly balls. As you mentioned, his fly ball rate has gone from 26% to 35%, and out of 94 hitters to hit 50 plus batted balls in this span heading into Sunday, he had the 10th highest fly ball rate. Because of all this, his barrel rate has gone from 8% to 26%. Out of 159 hitters, his barrel rate ranked second. And as you mentioned, his attack direction has gone from 2 degrees to the opposite field to 1 degree to the pole side, and he's gone from pulling 19% of his fly balls to pulling 37% of them. This has all made his home run to fly ball ratio, according to Baseball Savant, go from 12% to 47%. 47% of the fly balls Vientos has hit over the last 19 games or 18 games heading into today had gone for home runs, almost half of them. And out of 195 hitters, his home run to fly ball ratio ranked fourth. So yeah, from both of us, Mark Vientos is getting a
How about that?
very good work from Mr. Vientos. But yeah, that shall do it for players to highlight. Any final words?
Final words. Travis Bazzana has homered in, I believe, 3 straight games in AAA, and I am very curious to see if he gets up to the majors before the end of the year. I believe, has like a 150 weighted runs created plus in AAA, I think, in like a month, something like that. Whether it's for a playoff run or not, I think it's worth just throwing a few games and letting him take that in next off season. Could be fun. Could be a fun thing that I'll be watching for in the next few weeks.
Yeah, I wonder if the Guardians front office has like a number of games behind that they would have to be to call them up. Like
Uh,
if they get to within one, it's like, yeah, it's Bazana time.
I thought you were gonna say like if they already have the dates circled on their calendar for 171 days next
Oh, I'm
year.
sure I'm sure they also have that as well.
Yeah. Get ready for April 18th. Gonna be awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
But they already
Uh,
have then like the promotions for next year.
yeah,
Travis was on a debut day.
speaking of that, I do wonder if so yeah, remember how last year the Mets and Braves played a day after the regular season was supposed to end? I wonder if
Mhm.
that counts for service time.
Probably, right?
I wonder
Because
if a team could
I
get
think it
screwed
has
by
to because
that.
they did. Well, it has to because they didn't play a game 163.
Right. Yeah.
Like that was games 161 and 162. I think it has to.
Yeah. So, I mean, I haven't seen a team do the exact 171 thing since I
Chris
think Chris
Bryant's always the one
Bryant,
that comes to mind. Yeah.
but I think they usually give it enough time, especially with the rookie of the year rules. Like,
Mhm.
Roman Anthony's probably going to get screwed by that. In
Yeah.
the
Well, I mean,
He could
he got extended. I think it's all right.
yeah.
I
But
don't really think he cares.
well, at this point, yeah, he
It's
didn't.
the only tough thing is if he finishes first or second, the Red Sox lose out on the chance to get a draft pick. Like it screws the Red Sox more than him.
Right. But yeah, no one's done the 171 thing in a while.
No.
Um, for those unaware, you need 172 days of service time to accrue a full year of service time, and then once you get 6 of those, you enter free agency. So teams will hold guys back so that they get an extra year out of them, which is albeit messed up, but pretty
It's
smart.
in the rule book.
It's you kind of should do that logically speaking
Yeah.
as an organization if you're looking at the long term, but it's stupid that it is a rule. Um, but yeah, anything more before we wrap this up?
No, I didn't have anything else to do.
No, nothing
All
comes to
right.
mind. Um, yeah, hope everyone enjoyed their baseball Sunday this past
Yep, and
weekend.
I know you all were watching baseball too.
Yeah,
I mean, not that there's anything else on, but
full Sunday slate. I mean,
maybe you went for a walk. Maybe you enjoyed some of the last nice days that we have before it gets cold.
yeah,
I don't really know what else to
everyone's
do. Yeah.
you're just glued to the television watching the Cardinals and the Giants go at it for another time. Two old school National League teams going at it.
Yep.
But yeah, that shall do it for this installment of Above Replacement Radio. We hope you enjoyed this one. If you were listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and want to watch the conversation as it happens, go to the YouTube channel. It is called Above Replacement Radio. Uh, you know, feel free to check out the guest playlist. We've had Matt Brash on, we've had Chris Rose, Jeff Passan, uh, Foolish Bailey, Sarah Langs, Mike Petriello, Mark Simon 4 times. Go check that out. Pretty evergreen interviews. So if you haven't heard them, you might enjoy that. Also watch at least watch the latest video essay. Try to bump that into the algorithm somehow. Hidden Wins Championships. It's pretty relevant right now because playoffs are about 3 weeks away. Um,
Yeah.
Also, follow us on social media. Follow me on Twitter, @Chris_Gianta. Follow Daniel on both Twitter and Instagram, @Daniel_Curran. And follow the show Instagram, @Above Replacement Radio for all the show needs. We hope you enjoyed this one, and we hope to see you next time, where we will be talking all the happenings in Major League Baseball. Once again, see you then.
This conversation
This conversation
is over.
is over.